The Star Wars saga in 7 minutes. Sort of. Everything you need to know about that galaxy far, far away. Spoilers. The Star Wars saga begins during a time of great turmoil for the Galactic Republic. In an attempt to resolve a conflict between the Trade Federation and the people of Naboo, a peaceful planet on the Mid-Rim, Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn and his Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi are sent in for negotiations. When things go awry, the two flee to the planet's surface. There, the Jedi meet Jar Jar Binks, an outcast of the native Gungans. They rescue Naboo's queen, Padme Amidala, and in their subsequent escape, their cool space yacht is damaged and they're forced to land on Tatooine for repairs. Fortunately, they stumble on young Anakin Skywalker. The kid is a slave and a pilot, but also happens to be off the charts with the powers of the Force. Qui-Gon is certain that young Skywalker is the prophesized chosen one who will bring balance to the Force.
Remember, concentrate on the moment. Feel, don't think.
On Coruscant, the Jedi Council is hesitant to train the boy, but Qui-Gon plans to take him on as his Padawan anyway. Over in the Galactic Senate, Senator Palpatine, who is secretly the evil Sith Lord Darth Sidious, puts his evil plans into action, and Padme returns to Naboo with the Jedi to rid her homeworld of the Trade Federation for good. Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn face off against Darth Maul, Sidious's dark apprentice. Darth Maul kills Qui-Gon, but is bested by Obi-Wan, who takes Anakin on as his ward. The people rejoice. 10 years just fly by, and Anakin is now a Jedi Padawan. He and Obi-Wan are assigned as Padme's bodyguards after an assassination attempt. Obi-Wan is sent to track down the assassin, and Anakin is asked to escort Padme back to Naboo.
My goodness, you've grown.
Obi-Wan eventually tracks the would-be hitman to Kamino, where he discovers a legion of clones in production to aid the growing Separatist army. Turns out the entire army are genetic clones of Jango Fett, the bounty hunter that Obi-Wan has been tracking. Obi-Wan follows Jango and his son Boba to Geonosis, where he gets captured by the fallen Jedi Master, Count Dooku. Meanwhile, Anakin and Padme have fallen in love, but Anakin's visions of his mother's torture lead him back to Tatooine, where he slaughters a whole bunch of sand. They leave for Geonosis to save Obi-Wan, but upon their arrival are also captured by Count Dooku.
Good job.
The three heroes are eventually rescued by Jedi Masters Mace Windu and Yoda. In a final confrontation, Anakin loses a hand, Yoda does 100 flips, and Dooku escapes to deliver plans for a secret weapon to his master, Darth Sidious. Anakin and Padme are secretly married, and by this time it's pretty clear that
Begun. The Clone War has.
Over the next 3 years, Anakin's training continues. The galaxy is torn apart by war, and the Jedi, led by Yoda, continue to battle Count Dooku and his cyborg ally, General Grievous. Obi-Wan and Anakin are sent to rescue Supreme Chancellor Palpatine from Grievous. Anakin kills Count Dooku and returns to Coruscant. Here, he reunites with Padme, who reveals that she's pregnant, and shortly after, Anakin begins to foresee Padme's death during childbirth. In an attempt to save Padme, Anakin begins to learn about the dark side of the Force from none other than Palpatine. He finally realizes that Palpatine is actually the Sith Lord Darth Sidious, but not in time to save Mace Windu.
What have I done?
In a final effort to save his wife's life, he pledges himself to the dark side. Sidious enacts Order 66, which basically eradicates the entire Jedi Order. Anakin kills younglings, Obi-Wan destroys General Grievous, and Darth Sidious becomes the Emperor of the newly formed Galactic Empire. Anakin and Obi-Wan meet on Mustafar. After a final attempt to sway Anakin fails, Obi-Wan defeats him and leaves him for dead.
You were the chosen one!
But he's rescued by Darth Sidious and is reborn as Darth Vader. Padme gives birth to twins, Luke and Leia, but dies as Anakin foresaw. Luke is sent to live on Tatooine, while Leia is adopted by Bail Organa and grows up as the last princess of Alderaan. After 14 years of tyranny, a small group of freedom fighters, including Jedi Padawan Kanan Jarrus and his student Ezra Bridger, bring the fight to the Empire in one of the earliest cells of what will one day become the Rebel Alliance. As the rebellion grows in numbers, the secret plans to the Empire's ultimate weapon, the Death Star, are stolen and eventually make their way to everyone's favorite wonder droid, R2-D2. Princess Leia sends R2 to find Obi-Wan Kenobi, with the Empire in hot pursuit. R2-D2 and his counterpart C-3PO wind up in the possession of young Luke Skywalker, and the trio eventually make their way to Kenobi. Obi-Wan convinces Luke to join the rebellion after his aunt and uncle are slain by the Empire. Their journey begins at the infamous Mos Eisley Cantina. Here, they hire a charming smuggler named Han Solo and his Wookiee sidekick Chewbacca to take them to Alderaan to rendezvous with Princess Leia. Unfortunately, her planet has just been blown to smithereens by the Death Star, and she's been taken prisoner.
As if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced.
Luke, Han, and Chewie set out to rescue her, while Obi-Wan confronts Darth Vader. Vader kills Obi-Wan, but the rest of our heroes escape to the Rebel base on Yavin 4, where they deliver the plans to the Rebels. Using the stolen plans, the Rebels mount an attack on the Empire. At the behest of Obi-Wan, Luke uses the Force to guide his final shots and destroys the Death Star. The people rejoice. 3 years pass and we meet up with our heroes at the Rebel base on the ice planet Hoth. After a run-in with a Wampa, Luke is convinced by the ghost of Obi-Wan to begin his Jedi training on Dagobah with Yoda, but first the Empire shows up. After the Battle of Hoth, Luke leaves for Dagobah with R2-D2. Han, Leia, Chewie, and C-3PO are headed to meet up with the Rebels, but have a brief run-in with the Empire.
Never tell me the odds.
And a giant space worm, but eventually set a course for Bespin to take refuge with Han's friend Lando Calrissian. Unbeknownst to them, the bounty hunter Boba Fett isn't far behind. During his training, Luke begins having visions of Han and Leia being tortured. Despite Yoda's warnings, he leaves for Bespin on another rescue mission, but the trap has already been sprung. Lando sold out his pals to Darth Vader.
I had no choice. They arrived right before you did.
Vader freezes Han in carbonite and hands him off to Boba Fett for delivery to Jabba the Hutt, who Han owes an exorbitant amount of credits. Luke and Vader face off. Luke loses a hand and Vader reveals that he is in fact Luke's father, which Luke doesn't take too well. Eventually, the gang rescues Han from Jabba, but get caught in the act and narrowly escape an eternity in the Sarlacc pit. Boba Fett, not so much. Luke visits Yoda on his deathbed, and in his final moments, he reveals that Leia is Luke's sister. The Empire has been building a new Death Star, and the Rebellion once again sets out to destroy it. They take their battle to the forest moon of Endor, where they team up with the ridiculously cute Ewoks to take out the Empire's ground forces and the new Death Star shield in one fell swoop. In orbit, Luke confronts Vader and the Emperor in a final showdown. When he resists the call of the dark side, the Emperor tortures Luke. Moved over seeing his son in pain, Vader kills the Emperor but is mortally wounded. He dies in Luke's arms, and Luke escapes moments before the rebels destroy the second Death Star, effectively crippling the Empire. The people rejoice. And that brings us to The Force Awakens. What mysteries will be revealed? What familiar faces will we see? For these answers and all things Star Wars, keep it right here on IGN.